Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I am so excited to be chatting with you. And second of all, I am an open book. So you'll be hearing everything. Nothing's off limits.
Well, it's okay. My first couple episodes I talked about not being a good pooper. So, we're here, we're all open in the GI space. I think the more we talk about these kinds of things, the more people are like, "Oh, that's normal," or maybe that's not normal and I should call my doctor. So, hi,
Totally.
hello. Tell me all about yourself.
Yes, I've in my friend group become the person that like everyone feels comfortable talking about their poop
Yep.
and bowel movements with, and I consider it an honor.
Yeah.
We should be
I
open
know.
about
Same.
that. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Like let's I don't know why there's a stigma around poop. Like we
I
love
don't know
poop.
either.
We want to normalize it. It's healthy.
Mhm.
So
I
I'm
know. I
very
can't wait
comfortable
till
talking
we
about that.
we talk about your Bristol chart when we get down to the get down to the nitty-gritty
Oh
of why
yes.
we're chatting today. So, thank
Uh-huh.
you again so much for being here. I'm super super excited when I saw you and, a little of your story and what you were building on LinkedIn. I was like, I need to chat with her. So, I'm so grateful to hear more and share more about everything that you're doing. So, take it away. Tell us about yourself.
Thank you for having me. Super excited to be here. So, I am here because I recently developed a digestive health app too, which I call your gut's new BFF. Um, but my journey started long before I launched a digestive health app, which is just available on the App Store as of February. So, when I was 6 years old, I was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune liver condition, autoimmune hepatitis. And I knew from the age of 6 that I would never be able to drink alcohol. I had no idea what the implications of that were,
Oh
but
my
that was just
gosh.
something I was aware of from a young age. And I had tummy issues really from the start. I had lactose intolerance. So at that time, there weren't as many options available. So I was drinking rice milk. Very interesting. Not really what you see the baristas pouring today for the dairy free alternatives. So I kind of went in and out of that lactose intolerance. And then later on, I was diagnosed with celiac disease and also IBS. So I've had my fair share of digestive health issues. And I actually endured a really severe IBS flare up in 2023. It was the worst flare up I had ever experienced. And I was really determined to get to the root cause of it. I felt like it was something beyond IBS. And I went to every doctor under the sun. I took every test imaginable, every procedure out there from uh, endoscopy, video capsule, a colonoscopy, an upper endoscopy, a CT scan, stool tests, of course, blood tests, the whole nine. And nothing was really coming of these tests. Like I would get results from a stool test one week, and my numbers would look very different from the stool test I took a few weeks later. So,
Mhm.
there weren't a lot of concrete answers I was getting. And what I heard over and over was one, keep a manual food diary, and two, you're probably very stressed. And you don't look bloated. So I don't know why you like keep saying you're bloated. That one really got to me. I felt like no one could really see what I was experiencing and
Mhm.
really how severe the pain and discomfort I was experiencing on a daily basis was. And when I would come back to my doctor and show these manual food diaries, we would kind of be stuck looking at these pieces of paper and wouldn't really get any actionable insights out of them. So I switched to digital health tools, and the existing
Mhm.
digital health tools were essentially a glorified food diary as well, because they would again have all of my data, but this time on my phone instead of paper. And again, still no actionable insights. So I decided I'm not one to sit and wait around. I decided, you know what? I need to take matters into my own hands. I'm sick of doctors looking at me, telling me I'm okay, telling me it's just stress and I need to get that under control and then all will be cured. So I came up with the idea for an app that leverages AI to one, make tracking a lot easier because it is very labor intensive and time consuming.
Yes.
And two,
Yes.
actually turns that data into actionable insights because I was sick
Mhm.
of just looking at that data, trying to draw these correlations myself. So that is kind of what prompted me to build Tuut. And I just felt super committed to bringing this tool to life for anyone who's experienced similar issues that I have. And it has been such a whirlwind. Creating this tool. I have zero technical experience. I'm not a doctor. I am just a professional patient, I like to say. So
Mhm.
it's been quite the journey, but I am so excited that Tuut is now available in the App Store and ready for people to use, and that people can, as they say, I like to say, figure their shit out and find out what is actually contributing to their symptoms so that they're empowered to make those
Mhm.
changes with their provider and feel like the best versions of themselves.
Yeah, I love that. I love when people are like, "I am so sick of this, so I'm just gonna fix it," right? Or I'm gonna do something about it. And I see these beautiful ideas come to life talking to people who've either experienced something or maybe their loved one is experiencing something, and like what the care that goes into these programs, these apps, any or these resources, and to really see that it's not, and I know we talked about this when we first were chatting, it's not just somebody coming in saying, I'm going to build an app in digital health and then sell it for $1 bajillion and call it a day. Like maybe that's a wonderful app and great, that's good for you. Thank you for doing that. But like, you can see a true difference between the apps that are just designed for the sake of being designed versus the ones that have people, patients, and users in mind, and that take the patient, people, or users' input when designing it. And in full transparency, I have been using Tuut now for, I think, just over 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks ish, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yay!
I know I've told you that 800 times, but now I'm going to tell the
You
world
can
that I
tell me
absolutely love
900
it.
times. Keep going.
But it's, I think, like, one of the things with all of these tracking apps that, like, I'm a person that's always tracked her macros. Like, as a data person, I have always liked to track macros. I've gone in different seasons of life where I want to eat more, so I need to know how much I'm eating in order to eat more, right? And as a type 1 diabetic, I need to know my carbs so I can properly bolus myself. But I have been so burnt out in the last few months with stress, like we were just saying, and all of these things. And tracking is so labor intensive. I'm like, I don't want to track my freaking macros anymore. I'm done. I don't want to do it. But the app that I was using only had the option to track macros. And it's a great app. I love it. I will probably at someday want to go back to tracking those macros, but I'm like, I just want to track what I'm eating. I just want to track those symptoms. And I think that and your poop chart is probably my favorite piece of this because I can see what I'm doing. I can easily log things in, but I don't have to worry about anything other than like, did I like it? Did it settle well? Did it make me poop? Did it make me have to throw up? Did it make me bloated or nauseous or all of the above? Like, what did it do to me? That's all that matters. And it's simplistic in a beautiful way. It's simplistic in a way that works for, my life and what I need right now. And I wasn't getting that anywhere else. Plus, it's super colorful. So that to me, it's like you don't go in and it's just like plain and like, I just have to go in and do this. I'm like, it's almost it's happy in there. And I'm just like, so I pooped today. Here's what it looked like. You know,
I
like
need to
let me
hire
take on the
you.
chart.
I need to hire you as my ambassador, my spokesperson. You just said everything that is right about this app. I would say, first of all, again, to anyone who's tried the existing digital symptom trackers, they notice
Hmm.
that they're great, but a lot of them are clunky, antiquated, and maybe look like they were created by a provider or someone who isn't as
Hmm.
concerned about the added burden that tracking brings to someone's life. So,
Yeah.
my intention with this app was making it as easy as possible for people. So, that means collecting only the information that's absolutely necessary because sometimes I would enter these digital health apps and see they wanted to know every single thing about me. They wanted my fingerprint, they
Yep.
wanted my birth certificate, they wanted my social security number. And I would stare at all of those things and get immediately
Nope.
overwhelmed and leave the app because
Yep.
it just felt like too much for me. So I worked with registered dietitians and GI doctors to determine what information is truly needed in order to give us insight into what is
Yeah.
contributing to our symptoms. And that's the only information to collect. I don't need anything extra, anything superfluous. It's really just the basics so that you're not logging all day. Also, I
Yep.
would like to say that the poop log is my favorite as well. It's highly underrated. It's so
Yes.
easy, it's so quick, and it's just the best. I think that's my favorite
It is.
category. But
It is.
also, to your point, um, Two is certainly not a dieting app. So there are so many apps these days that allow you to take pictures of your food, and all of a sudden you see every little thing that's in there, or it says
Mhm.
warning, warnings, there's a seed oil, like avoid at all costs. That is the opposite of Two. Two is not here to tell you what to eat, what not to eat. It is not here to help you lose weight. Again, there are other apps for that. Really, Two is here to make tracking easy, seamless, to
Yep.
discourage hypervigilance that can unintentionally result in disordered eating patterns, which a lot of people with chronic digestive health conditions, through no fault of their own, are victim of because of traditional food logging behaviors and because of
Mhm.
how painful it can be to eat food. We then all of a sudden develop fears sometimes. So, Two is really here to avoid all of that and instead enable and empower the user to find out what makes them feel their best, maybe what doesn't. And if Two presents something that maybe seems to be a correlation with symptoms, it'll let you know, but it will also
Mhm.
tell you to talk to your provider about it because Two does
Mhm.
not replace medical providers at all. It is just here to kind of make that pattern discovery a lot easier on both you and your provider. So,
Yes.
absolutely, if people want to track macros and all of that information, power to them. There are some great apps out there, but Two is not for that.
Yeah, and it felt like for me, it fell right, like, when I needed it, which was just for it just was really cool that that, like, happened to happen that way, where I'm like, I had been traveling and I was like, "I'm not tracking nothing. I'm just gonna eat what I can," and I barely had any options where we were traveling, and I was eating processed food, and I'm like, "I feel terrible right now, and I know that I need to track something, but I just don't want the labor intensive crap of weighing everything right now. I'm tired. I just don't want to do it. I actually stopped like weighing myself on my actual scale too, because I'm like, I just don't want to track anything. And for me, it wasn't in a place of like, I want to live in blissful ignorance. It just was like, this is an added thing that I have to do every day. And I'm too freaking tired and I just don't want to do it. But I also know that my stomach is trash right now, even more than it normally is, and I need to be able to figure these things out. And always it's always going to come back to poop here. It really always is. But
That's
I
my life
I've
motto.
I've been tracking like bowel movements since consistently or as consistently as possible since 2023. And it was just in a note in my phone with the date, and did I poop or did I not poop? That was it. That's all it was. And if it was a little bit more, if there were like other things that kind of I felt contributed to how I was feeling, I might notate them in there. So I've got this super, super long list in my phone. Like, now we're at 3-year mark of tracking everything
I'm
in
so
my phone.
impressed.
And I'm like, I don't even want to do this anymore because now scrolling in there, I'm like, I have to find stuff. And that in itself isn't so much labor intensive, but you were talking about like actionable data. I couldn't get anything from that. Like it was there where I could scroll back to a certain time frame, but like I could maybe correlate some things, which I have been able to do, but to try to put point A to point B took a lot of time because it was in separate places. So if you're tracking your macros in this side, I'm tracking bowel movements over here, and I'm tracking symptoms over here in 3 separate places. I'm like, how am I getting this information together? And then I have the app with my scale, and then I have like all my blood sugar numbers over here, and then I have where I upload to my dietitian. I'm like, I am so done and I'm just overwhelmed. So for me at this point, it's like I'm just tracking my food, and then it's like I can upload my blood sugars to the dietitian, and here you go. Like, this is what it is. Everything's here. It's super simple. This is what I did. But now I can not use my very long 3-year note and go in to track a bowel movement for the day, and utilizing the Bristol chart. I don't have to verbally describe my bowel movement anymore. I just click the picture and what time of day and any other notes, and I'm good to go. And it's the best thing ever. When I
I
clicked on
love
that and I saw the photos, I just was like,
I
she did
love the
it.
photos. They're so cute. I'm like, you know what? I could look at these photos of poop all day long. They're cuter than real poop.
I love the like thought behind it. And it's like GI issues are so stigmatized, as we've said already, where it's like nobody talks about these things, or it's so embarrassing. I'm like, we all poop. It's fine. Why don't we talk about it more? Maybe not super loudly and describing all the details to somebody who doesn't want to hear it, but you know, those things are so important, and I think it was March was colorectal cancer month. And some of the things where you can notice trends and differences and changes in your health is in your dang poop. But if you're not paying attention to your dang poop, you're not going to pick up some of these early warning signs, whether that's for any colon cancer issues, or if you have Crohn's, IBS, gastroparesis, all of these GI conditions. Your poop can be one of the first things that will be giving you some information. But if we're not tracking it, if we're not looking at it, or maybe you don't know how to track or know what to look for, and this solved that problem. And you're right, the little poop pictures are just adorable. I'm like, oh, it's that one today. Okay, click enter, and I'm good.
Yeah, and sometimes it's multiple in one at
Mm-hmm.
once, and you just
Yep.
can select them all, whatever you need. No,
Yep.
I agree. I do really love them. A funny point on that note is I think I realized how serious the stigma is as I've developed this app, because I've always
I
been
bet.
so open about bowel movements, and that's never
Mm-hmm.
been something I've really been ashamed of.
Yeah.
And then when I started creating the app, it was actually called Belly Bestie. And then
Mm-hmm.
I switched the name to Tuut. And first of all, even Tuut was very controversial for people. They were, really scared by that word. Is it going to put people off? I had to remind them it's a digestive health app. So the people who are using this, I don't think will be too
We're
scared
not
by the word
offended.
Tuut.
We're
No,
not offended.
I'm so glad you agree. And then, I was crowdsourcing on what should I make the app logo, and I actually use this brown color that I love in a lot of my designs. And people were like, "No, the app name is already Toot. Like, you can't use brown as well.
Can't
Like,
make it brown.
it'll make people think of poop." And I'm like, "That's kind of the point, guys. I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
realize that, but we are talking about poop on here." So it is nice to hear that you are appreciating that aspect of it, because it is a really, really important data point. So I
Yeah.
think it's very important to recognize that, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully to can help change the stigma around poop, because there's nothing bad about it.
No, no. And it's just I love how refreshing, like, even just this conversation is, where you're talking about things that are, not always awkward, but they're just a thing that we don't really talk about too much. I mean, I'm used to it, you're used to it, and our communities are used to it, but they might not be used to talking to other people about it. It at this point, like, my husband comes home and he's like, "Did you poop today?" And I'm like, "I did," or "I didn't." And he's like, "So what do we do if you didn't? Like, do we want to take care of this? Like, what do you need to take?" So it's like, it's completely normal. But I go to somebody else's house and it's like, you can't even say the word fart. And I'm just like, look,
Right, right.
okay, I didn't realize, like, but trying to be, cognizant of, other people's feelings around that
Totally.
too. But I'm like, at the same time, I'm an open book about these things, even with just how I feel, the bloating, the nausea, all of these things. And it's so hard to have conversations around this anyway. And then when somebody asks you, like, well, how did you feel over the last 2 weeks? And you're like, I don't know. I just felt like shit. Well, what was your biggest symptom? I don't know, because you just don't feel like tracking it. You don't want to do that. And there have been times where I know there are things I need to do and I cannot make myself do them. I absolutely cannot make myself do them. And I am like, I know I need these medications, and it takes me a lot of like self-hyping to say I need to take these meds, the same ones I've been taking for 10 years, but every once in a while it hits you where you just don't want to do it anymore.
Mhm.
And that happens with tracking, and the burden is on us as people and patients to keep an eye on what's happening in order to properly convey that information to our providers, so that way they can make the proper diagnoses, medication, prescriptions, tests, treatments, all that good stuff. And the burden falls on us, unfortunately. So if it feels too burdensome and we're already burnout, tired, stressed, sick of being sick and just over it, why would you do something that's going to take the last bit of like brain cells for you to do? You're not going to want to do it. So this is a wonderful thing that takes a little bit of that out of it. Even if it's like, crap, I still have to track something. You go in and it's a happy tomato or it's a
Exactly.
cute little poop.
That's the whole point behind it. I mean, when you say there are lots of bright colors and stuff, I was so
Mhm.
intentional about the branding and
Mhm.
how everything looks, because I am acutely aware, as someone who experiences these things on a daily basis, of how tiring it is, how it feels like a full-time job. And oftentimes,
Mhm.
if you're not someone who experiences it yourself, or don't have a very close loved one who experiences it, it can be very difficult to understand from
Absolutely.
afar. And I've learned that as well. So I wanted to make this a bright place, super
Mhm.
vibrant, playful. No, it's not fun that we experience these symptoms and have to endure this on a daily basis, but tracking can be such a burden. It can be really labor intensive, very intimidating. So, what's a way I can make this a little more approachable, a little brighter for people? And so, I really took that to the next level and
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that it was fun, it was a little silly. We don't have to take
Mhm.
things too seriously all the time. So it's bright, it's colorful. Again, it tries to meet you exactly where you are. So if you're someone
Yes.
who likes voice memos, I'm not the best texter. I get
Mhm.
overwhelmed sometimes by texting and having to keep up with people. So I like a voice memo. So I decided to
Mhm.
include that in the app. Instead of having to type what food you ate, you can just do a voice memo and it will transcribe
Yep.
it for you. I love that. Or if you're someone
Yep.
who wants to just snap a picture, you can just snap a picture. So, or if you like the good old fashioned writing it down, you can log it by typing. So I really tried to consider all different patients with this app, and make it as approachable and useful as possible for people who have different preferences when it comes to these things. And to your point, I had to be cognizant of the fact that we don't like tracking. I mean, I
Yeah.
personally don't like tracking. It feels like
I
I
hate
deal
it.
with enough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot to ask someone then, okay, I know you're already dealing with all of this, but now let's write it all down and remind yourself of what you're going
Mhm.
through and what you're feeling. So I try and make it as easy and seamless as possible so the person can kind of detach themselves from it almost. So if you're taking a photo of it, you're not overthinking every single ingredient. I actually explicitly say on the app, for instance, when the user is recording, don't be too prescriptive. You don't have to give exact
Mhm.
measurements. You can compare and say, similar to a deck of cards or a handful or the size of a golf ball, if you would like to
Mhm.
provide some clarity. But I don't want the person using the app to be overthinking,
Mhm.
measuring,
Yeah.
thinking they have to find out every little thing that goes in it at all times. Like, we need to be able to live our lives. We deal with enough already. We shouldn't have to, you know, be spending all of this time over analyzing everything. So this app is
Yeah.
really here to allow yourself to kind of pull away from that hypervigilance
Mhm.
and also find answers and get that information to, empower yourself to know yourself better and not have to sit staring at a bunch of information that's impossible to dissect.
Yeah. And I love that that's just an option because in your normal apps, like we were saying before, that's not usually an option because the majority of people who are utilizing these types of tracking apps or just tracking in general, they want those specifics. And sometimes, we just don't want those specifics. We just want the symptoms. We want to know, was it that milk that I drank that bothered me? Or was it maybe that piece of bread that bothered me? Was it this vegetable that bothered me? Like, where is that? And like the way that I've been putting in there is like I've had more than normal, like a bigger piece of bread, or I ate a little bit more, or, just kind of talking about it's more or less than normal because I've been doing the same thing for so long, which I guess might be different for my case than somebody who hasn't been. But like, I can make the same breakfast without measuring anything, and I can almost guarantee you that my measurements are going to be within like 10 grams of what my estimate is going to be because I've been doing the same thing for so long. So if I decide to have a little bit more, I just say that. And I'm like, okay, so that was a little bit too much. Let's go back to normal. And I liked that and being able to pay attention to that. And I'm an old school person where I've been like typing things in, but I have utilized the other ways of doing that with a photo. Took me a while too because I'd go to start eating, then I'm like, oh, I want to take a photo. It's not there anymore. I got to remember
Yes.
to do that next
Oops,
time. So
finished it.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, oh, phone didn't eat first on that one. But the voice notes and everything to put all those pieces together, it just, like I said earlier, it really shows how much thought went into this and not just for the sake of doing something. And I think that that's where it's not just geared to some like one GI disease or one issue or one thing. It's anybody that wants to track for any sort of digestive or GI condition. And I think from our perspective too, because gastroparesis is often like hard to really keep track of with symptoms, right? Or because we're usually in the background of what people think about with digestive diseases, the apps, the resources and things are more focused to disease states that have issues that don't quite pertain to us. So because this is so open and you can put in your symptoms in such a non-strict way, I feel like it keeps that option open for anybody that's like, I just want to be better about my digestive health. Like, what can I do and how can I best keep track of that? And especially too for people who've never tracked before and are just starting to do something, this is really, really like low barrier of entry to start doing that and seeing really, really great results when you can show up with that consistency without it adding this huge, heavy burden to your life.
Absolutely. And I like to say, I mean, it was built for me and people like me who experience these
Hmm.
issues on a daily basis, and it interferes with their lives tremendously sometimes, at least my own. But really, it can be for anyone who's looking to get to know themselves better. So, someone might not have IBS, but they might have the occasional bloating or the occasional
Hmm.
cramping. I mean, I'm hard pressed these days to find someone who doesn't get bloated every once
Hmm.
in a while or even semi frequently. So, this app will even help people like that who maybe it's not a diagnosed condition. Maybe there's just some occasional discomfort. Find out like what could be
Yeah.
contributing to that. Is there a pattern behind this? So,
Hmm.
it really is designed to help as many people as possible. Um, even hearing you telling me that you love the app, anytime one person reaches out, if they DM the Tuut Instagram or if they email me, it truly makes my day because the best thing that could ever come out of this is that to helps people
Yeah.
identify what is contributing to their symptoms faster because you shouldn't have to be going through this medical mystery tour for years and years. And I want everyone to
Yeah.
be able to live their best lives, enjoy themselves,
Yeah.
and have some fun, just like our Tuut tomato does, and all the
I
playful,
love the
vibrant colors.
sunglasses. I just love
I
the
love them.
sunglasses.
Me too.
So,
So
what
good.
are the next, like, steps for Toot? Do you have, without giving away any super secrets that you probably are like, "Ooh, I don't wanna share yet," but what are some of the, wish things that you'd like to do with it, or anything that you can share that's upcoming, that is new add-ons for what it already is?
I love this question because my list is constantly growing because there's
I
so
I I
much.
had a feeling.
Oh my god. I just wanna do everything, like, I want everyone to be happy, so anytime someone suggests a feature, I'm like, "I wanna do that for you." Uh, so transparently, as someone with 0 tech experience, it has been quite challenging building an app, and I, did turn to some professionals to help. Definitely with the medical side. So I've been consulting with registered dietitians and GI doctors. That is of the utmost importance to me. But
Mhm,
on the technical side, I was working with some contractors to help with the software engineering. And as of late, I have someone helping me on the back end engineering, but I am actually taking over the front end engineering, which has been
mm.
so fun. I never really thought I would say that because I don't come from a technical background. I worked in brand marketing, but it has been really exciting to kind of have that ownership over the
Mhm,
app and really own part of the code base because it's really important to me to be able to contribute technically in that way. So I have been working on some of the features that I've been dying to bring to life. So one feature that's really important that will take a little longer to build out is the ability for the user to export their data in a
mhm.
clean way and share it with a provider if they so choose, or whoever really they wish to share it with, or even just save to their own file. So I'm working on, making some graphs where you can see your trends over time,
So
and you can
good.
share your insights with your provider. So that's something I'm very excited about. Will take some time. Another feature that I'm very excited about is the weekly digest. So right
Mm,
now, the app has the daily digest, which is a general wellness tip from an expert because
mhm.
I found that there is so much misinformation on the internet, and I want to increase access to science backed, evidence based
Yes.
information. So
I
that is
feel
another
you there.
way. That is another way to enjoy too. Even if you're not tracking,
Mhm.
every day you can see a new tip, which I love. So
Yes.
that's the daily digest. So I'm working on something I'm calling the weekly digest, where you will get kind of a really, really fun report in the app of what you did the past week. So whether it
Huh.
be how many minutes of movement or how many bowel movements you took and that kind of how that differs from previous weeks and your new insights. And really, it's kind of just this visual fun summary that will give people maybe this boost and somewhat of an incentive to track more because to your point, I know I need to track. I know that's something that's important to me, but I don't always want to. So this is kind
Yeah.
of a way to reward you like you're working hard, you're tracking your information and you deserve to get like a little fun out of it. So
Yeah.
there'll be some fun little features like that and then also just constantly improving the insights because
Mhm,
the insights are really important to me. And I've been working with my own registered dietitian. I've been consulting with Kate Scarlotta as well, and also a GI doctor at Columbia University. But my registered dietitian, Jessica Lebovitz, has been working super closely with me on the insights portion of it. And we are
mhm.
constantly refining it, improving it, seeing how we can add more information, increase the education portion of the output. So I would say things are constantly changing, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Some refinements are constantly happening, and then some brand new features are also always in the works. So
Mhm.
you will be seeing a lot more to come. This is just the start, and I think things are really going to start picking up over these next few weeks, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, so most important question for you now is, do you sleep?
That is
Or is it caffeine and
okay.
chaos for you too?
I'm so happy you asked this question because sleep is something I am so passionate about. So, honestly, ever since I was super young, my dad would always tell us, you need to get 8 hours of sleep every night.
Mhm.
So, I'm not going to say before it was cool, but before it was cool, my dad was telling us about the importance of sleep and educating my siblings and I about the importance
Mhm.
of sleep. In high school, if I was studying for the ACT, he would be like, nope, go to bed. You'll wake up tomorrow feeling more refreshed. You'll be more productive. So that
Mhm.
is deeply, deeply ingrained in me. And I have not strayed from that. So I
I'm
remember,
impressed. I'm so
yes.
impressed.
So okay, I'm gonna be honest. Like I got 5 hours a few nights ago, but I sleep and I try and get 6 to 8 hours of sleep every night, closer to 7 to 8 because I remember when I was leaving my corporate job last year to launch full time into the app, I remember telling myself, whatever you do, you cannot be that person that starts ordering
Mhm.
takeout for every meal, never exercising or seeing the light of day and never sleeping because
Yeah.
that is one surefire way to give me the most insane flare up ever. So
Yep.
I consider sleep, exercise, and cooking all part of my treatment and my medicine. And
Mhm.
that is something to me, it's like not taking my liver medication. So if
Yeah.
I don't sleep, that's not taking my medicine, that's denying my body. So I do sleep. It isn't always 8 hours these days, but it is as close to 8 hours as possible, and really it helps me be as productive as I can be
Mhm.
and a lot less cranky as well.
I'm gonna take that to heart for myself because I'm like, I see these people, I'm like, how do you do it? I'm like, I'm just here like surviving on like chaos and caffeine and hoping for the best. But I've never been a good sleeper. My mom was always like, you need to, turn things off and go to bed. But I'm just like, I don't sleep. I'll just sit there and I'm like, it's a nice ceiling tile. Like,
Yeah.
how many do I have? Like, I've always
Right.
struggled with that. So, as we were saying before too, that one of the patterns that we get into to cause the flares, because I know the app does track sleep as well, where you can put that in manually. Which I made sure to do that. Like, even if I was like, "Ooh, if I don't track it, it didn't happen. Like the calories don't count
So
if you
true.
don't count your calories, right?
Right.
Um, but I'm like, okay, I got to put these things in here, because that sleep, it is so important for tracking purposes to see these things, to know. So you're sitting here, you're like, I know if I don't focus on this, if this is not a priority, that I am going to suffer. And logically, that makes sense for anybody, healthy or, chronically ill. If you're not sleeping, you are not doing as good as you should be, right? But if you are like me and you live with blinders on, you're like, I'm fine. I'm fine. Just give me just see a little bit more caffeine. You don't see those patterns happening until you are crash and burning at the end of that. So it's nice to know that the person helping us and saying encouragingly, like, please track your sleep, is not just, do as I say, not as I do, but actually doing as she does. So that's
Yes,
always
not
good.
always, sometimes. I will say, so
We're not
I
perfect. We're
actually
not
no,
perfect.
no, we're definitely not. I, suffer from anxiety, and, that also interferes with my symptoms a lot, but
Mhm.
I find a lot of peace from exercise and movement, so
Mhm.
that's something that often I'll be working and have a super busy day, and I'll try and tell myself, "You don't have time to exercise, you really can't, like, you have to keep working, there's so many things to do, your list is constantly
Mhm.
growing," and then I come back to the thought that this is my medicine. This is part of my treatment plan. If
Mhm.
I don't do this today, later me will suffer. And I
Yes.
really try and hold on to that. And that has been super helpful for me. But yeah, it can also help, like if you're tracking your sleep, for instance, maybe it will keep you more accountable when you are
Mhm.
looking at your sleep patterns and seeing that pop up in the insights. So it can help there as well,
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah. Now I know I keep just like finding people. I'm like, man, I really am finding my people because I know you're a runner too, because you were just talking about some different events that you guys put together too. So for people in the NYC area, I don't know if you do it in other places. But I saw that and I was like, so close but so far away. Like
I know.
like my
So true.
runner friends. But
I
I love
know.
that you did that. I love it.
So one thing I am also super, super passionate about is making people know that they're not alone in these illnesses. I think it can be
Yeah.
really easy, especially to our earlier conversation when things like this are often stigmatized. It can be really
Yeah.
easy to just turn inward and feel like you don't have someone you can open up to about it, especially if you don't have someone else in your life who experiences these issues. You might
Mhm.
feel particularly isolated. And for me, I know being able to talk openly about it and realize that I'm not alone and this is a very real issue and these symptoms are very real. It's not just stress and
Yeah.
anxiety is so empowering for me. So
Mhm.
my registered dietitian and I also have a digestive health supper club in New York City.
Mhm.
Hopefully, we'll be expanding one day. That's the goal to other cities. But also for Tuut, it's really important to me to build out the community of app users. So bring people together, allow them to meet other people who are drawn to this app for whatever reason, make those
Mhm.
connections, maybe even make a friendship out of it. So I do a lot of exercise based events, active events, but also some food based events. So I'm constantly trying to do different things that can appeal to different people. Not everyone is able to exercise, and I'm very aware of that as well. So it's really
Mhm.
important to me to bring people together. And I'm bootstrapping right now. So it is really centered around the New York City area, but hopefully as Two expands, I will definitely be prioritizing doing those events and bringing
Mhm.
people together in other places because everyone deserves to feel seen and feel validated in what they're feeling. And I think it's
Mhm.
just such a powerful tool in your
Yeah.
care to know that you are not alone and that what you are experiencing is real. And everyone deserves to feel that way. So hopefully, we will be able to expand and make people across the country, across the world realize that as well and experience it for
Yeah.
themselves.
No, I love that. And that's something that we hold near and dear with G-PACT as well, where we just feeling like having gastroparesis and trying to explain like people over and over again. I'm like, I can't eat that. Sorry. Like, thank you. And then it's like, well, why you were okay yesterday. Why aren't you okay today? I'm like, cause that's how chronic illness works. Okay, I don't want to explain this anymore, so I'm just not going to come anymore because I'm tired of explaining this to people. And you do. I've been so isolated, and I'm like, I am so integrated in this dang community, and there have been
Right.
times where I have felt so isolated. And in the last year or so, I've found and met so many people in doing what we do here, and I'm like, I love this community so much. Like I I and G-PACT try to bring so much into the community with education and support, but, like, I don't think that, like, our community members really realize how much they've given me personally and how much they have filled my cup when I get to see their faces in our support groups and, and they're utilizing our resources and they're listening to the podcast and they're getting something out of this, and we talked about that early on, when they're reaching out and they're like, thank you, I learned so much with that. Like, when can we do that again? And I'm just sitting here like, I don't think they know what they've done for me and this entire community, that feeling of just not feeling alone and just finding your people or just finding others that understand. It's like, did we just become best friends? Having that
Yes.
stepbrothers moment. I'm like, I
Yes.
keep having that over and over again with guests that I've talked to and people that join the community, whether it's gastroparesis or it's EDS or POTS or it's another GI disorder, if it's IBS, IBD, it doesn't matter. Like, you don't have to have the exact same thing to get it. And it's just been so great to have what I've needed that I didn't know I really was missing or that I needed until all of a sudden it just was here. So community and support is so incredibly important. And I love what you're building. I keep telling you that because it's true, but I
It
really
means
I love
so,
so
so
much of
much.
this. And I'm just so grateful that I found this to share with our community, especially. I know I mentioned this before we started recording that we've been getting more and more questions about like how to track your food and what to do and where do I start and what's happening. And with the nutrition series that we're doing as well, it just all, falls into place where we can just provide more resources and more support for the community because that's what we're here for. And I just thank you so much for such a wonderful conversation, as always.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I'm so glad that you came across my posts on LinkedIn and reached out. I mean, that's really what it's all about, even being
Hmm.
able to make these connections with other people who might not experience
Yeah.
exactly what you experience, but experience similar things on a daily basis. It's super special to build and grow that community, and I really, really hope Tuut can be a valuable resource for everyone with G-PACT as well. It means so much that you're enjoying the app. Truly, hearing you
Yes.
say that, you can say it over and over and over again because it makes my day, and is something I will absolutely hold on to as I continue my coding endeavors. But
Mhm.
I love hearing from people. I love talking to people. So if anyone in your community has questions about the app, suggestions, wants to talk, hear more about my experience developing it, I am an open book. They can reach out at any time and I would love to chat.
Yes, I will make sure to put everything in the description to download the Instagram accounts, everything with the dinners and stuff too, so that way they can follow everything. And if they're in the area or maybe can travel and are interested, we'll get the information out there. So thank you so much. It
I
was
love
always great
it.
chatting.
Thank you so much.